evening. You're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Tonight's top headlines. AL-SULTAN Abdullah to end tenure as Agong on 30th January 2024. Putrajaya agrees in principle to Sarawak's wish for devolution of power in education. Premier Sarawak reappointed as Pro-Chancellor of UNIMAS. AL-SULTAN Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah is set to end his 5-year reign as the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia on January 30th next year. His Majesty expressed deep gratitude to the Malay rulers for their support and guidance, acknowledging their roles as protectors of the people and promoters of national well-being and unity. During his reign, Al-Sultan Abdullah navigated a tumultuous period in Malaysian politics, serving alongside 4 different prime ministers and their respective cabinets. His Majesty was also marked by the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which had significant economic repercussion and led to the declaration of a state of emergency. Through all these challenges, Al-Sultan Abdullah upheld his commitment to governing Malaysia justly in accordance with the federal constitution. He is also admired by the rakyat due to his down-to-earth and approachable personality, as shown during the recent Kembara Jelajah Borneo. Al-Sultan Abdullah previously replaced Sultan Muhammad Kalima, who resigned as the 15th Yang di-Pertuan Agong after holding the reins of government since December 13, 2016. The federal government has agreed in principle to Sarawak's desire for devolution of power in critical areas of education. According to the Ministry of Education, Innovation and Talent Development Sarawak, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof has instructed for an immediate committee to be set up between the Ministry of Education (MOE) and MEITD to share data on education in Sarawak. The matter was discussed in a meeting chaired by Fadilah earlier today and was also agreed that both the ministries will meet to refine the details for matters that are operational and administrative in nature. The issue of the shortage of more than 3,000 teachers in Sarawak was also discussed during the meeting. The meeting was a follow-up to the previous meeting of the devolution of education to Sarawak, which was held last August. Premier Sarawak Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg has been reappointed as the Pro-Chancellor of University Malaysia Sarawak UNIMAS for a 3-year period. UNIMAS Vice-Chancellor Professor Dato' Dr. Muhammad Kadim Soaidi announced that the reappointment will be in effect until March 14, 2026.
Pelantikan beliau telah pun diberi perkenan oleh Duli Yang Maha Mulia Sri Paduka Baginda di-Pertuan Agong dan telah pun dilaksanakan oleh Tuan Yang Utama Tun Chancellor. So itu tadi adalah juga sesi penyerahan watikah pelantikan baru bagi Yang Maha Berhormat Premier selaku Pro-Chancellor UNIMAS.
Professor Karim told this to reporters after paying a courtesy visit to the Premier of Sarawak at his office in Wisma Bapa, Malaysia on Thursday. The courtesy visit also served to inform the Premier about UNIMAS's 27th convocation ceremony, scheduled to take place from November 6th to November 9th.
Sarawak maintains a firm stance in using English as the official language alongside the national language in the state administrative affairs. State's Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Kui Hian emphasized that the use of English as an official language in Sarawak has been previously recognized, allowing either English or Bahasa Melayu as the language for intergovernmental communication between the state government, agencies and the public.
Apart from this, we also want to take back the education because this is not only the only reasons. And we also want to maintain our English as an official language.
He told this to reporters after officiating the Kenyalang Community Carnival at the Kenyalang Park Community Hall in Kuching on Thursday. Previously, Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim told government departments not to entertain any letters sent in languages other than the national language. He emphasized further that these letters should be returned if the directive is not followed, be it from the private or government sectors.
In another development, Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Koo Hian emphasized the importance of keeping schools and students out of international politics and conflicts. While he expressed sympathy for the distressing situation in Palestine, Dr. Sim raised questions about the suitability of organizing a Solidarity Week involving school children to support the Palestinian cause. He highlighted that there are numerous alternative avenues to express support for the Palestinians.
As far as Sarawak is concerned, I hope that our harmony and all those things, there are so many other ways that we can campaign for some cause and some these very tragic causes for the Palestinians, and we got so many other avenues to do that, and to involve school children is not appropriate, and that's why we fight for our education autonomy, so that we don't have to follow blindly, and that's not consistent with Sarawak values.
The Federal Ministry of Education recently issued a letter announcing the upcoming Palestinian Solidarity Week from October 29th to November 3rd, 2023. The program aims to demonstrate Malaysia's citizens' solidarity with global humanitarian values and will involve all educational institutions under the ministry, including schools, vocational colleges, matriculation colleges, and teacher education institutes across the country.
The Ministry of Health, MOH, is urging pet owners in the Sarawak to get their pets vaccinated in an effort to curb the spread of rabies in the state. Its Deputy Minister, Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni, said the current rabies outbreak situation in the state is concerning and called for more regular prevention efforts.
He added, preventive measures are being carried out by the Sarawak State Government, including the Department of Veterinary Services, which runs a vaccination program for pets.
Mengikut data terkini, sememangnya masalah rabies di Sarawak agak serius, dan juga kita mencatatkan bermula pada sehingga 2023 Oktober 2023, kita mencatatkan sebanyak 17 kes dan juga melibatkan 15 kematian di Sarawak. Dan juga kita ada mempunyai catatan berkenaan tentang kes ini yang berlaku di Selangor. Terdapat 3 kes lah yang dicatatkan, tapi itu adalah kes kumulatif daripada 2020 sehingga 2023. So agak kritikal di Sarawak lah, daripada 2020 hingga 2023 kita mempunyai hampir 75 kes rabies, dan ketika ini pihak PBT sedangkan mengadakan kempen besar-besaran di Sarawak untuk vaksinasi kepada haiwan peliharaan, terutama sekali anjing dan kucing, dan saya berharap agar masyarakat memberikan support ataupun sokongan kepada program vaksinasi ini.
Lukanisman said the focus to contain the rabies outbreak in Sarawak was due to its severity, with 15 rabies-related deaths reported so far this year. Previously, Sarawak Health Director Dr. Oi Chu Huck informed that 17 rabies cases were recorded in the state for the period from January to September 17th, involving 5 cases in Sibu Division, Serian 4, Kuching 3, Bintulu 3, and Samarhan 2.
The Army successfully foiled an attempt to smuggle 200 gas cylinders out to Kalimantan, Indonesia, via the Sirkin border on Wednesday. Spokesman for the 1st Infantry Division said the incident came to light when a patrol team discovered a lorry and a pickup truck at Ladang Empaling, Stars, located about 600 meters from the Malaysia-Indonesia border. Upon investigation, 2 local men, aged 23 and 36 years old, confessed to the intent. The total estimated value of the seizure, which includes the lorry, pickup truck, Gas cylinders and cash is about 141,700 ringgit. Both suspects and the seized items have been sent over to the Baut police station for further investigation. Coming up right after the break, no excuse for TikTok ban Fahmi Fadzil and manhunt underway for a gunman in Maine, United States. Only here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Federal Minister of Communications and Digital Fahmi Fadzil expressed dissatisfaction with the explanations given by TikTok for blocking content related to the Israel-Palestine conflict. He deemed technical reasons given by the social media platform as unreasonable and unacceptable.
Kita ada hak bersuara. Kita tidak mahu hak bersuara kita terutama dalam isu Palestin ini dikekang oleh pihak-pihak yang tidak bertanggungjawab atas sebab-sebab tertentu yang pada waktu ini belum lagi dijelaskan kepada saya. Mereka menggunakan alasan teknikal, ya, dan bagi saya this is not enough. I'm very dissatisfied.
He said this in his speech after launching the Palestine Humanitarian Fund for Civil Servants at the Ministry of Communications and Digital. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC held a meeting with TikTok's parent company on Wednesday, with a second meeting scheduled for early next week to emphasize Malaysia's stance. Previously, MCMC received complaints from TikTok users regarding content produced on the Israel-Palestine conflict issue being blocked on the platform.
At the same time, Fahmi also announced the Palestine Humanitarian Relief Fund, where the staff of his ministry can donate any amount of money to help support war victims in the country. The establishment of the fund, he said, aligns with the aspirations of the government's Chief Secretary, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, who urged ministries to kickstart respective relief funds for Palestine.
Kita harap ia akan dapat sedikit sebanyak mengumpulkan bantuan, terutama dalam bentuk wang ringgit, yang boleh kita kemudiannya salurkan melalui pihak kerajaan kepada rakyat di Palestin yang pada ketika ini memang menghadapi dugaan yang sangat-sangat besar dan berat.
Deadline looms for the financially troubled My Airline Sendirian Berhad as it has until tomorrow to submit a written justification over violations of its commercial flight license following its abrupt suspension earlier this month. The Malaysian Aviation Commission MAVCOM has commenced its investigation and issued a show cause letter to the airline on October 13, 2023, specifying its failure to fulfill its air service license conditions, including unsettled employee salaries and benefits.
It said that upon receiving My Airline's written representation, MAVCOM will evaluate whether the low-cost carrier should continue as an air service license holder or whether the license should be suspended or revoked pursuant to Section 43(1) of the Malaysian Aviation Commission Act 2015, Act 771. The Commission will then provide additional updates to the public within 1 week. The civil aviation regulator said it was also investigating My Airline for other possible breaches of its air service license conditions. With regard to refunds to the impacted consumers, MAVCOM has also engaged various agencies, including Bank Negara Malaysia, to seek all possible avenues to refund affected consumers, and the Commission will provide additional updates on refunds to the public in due course. Meanwhile, MAVCOM said it has set up a task force comprising representatives from the Commission, the Legal, Regulatory and Dispute Resolution Committee, and Consumer Protection Committee to look into the affected passengers' refunds and to provide recommendations on the way forward. On October 12, My Airline suspended its operations effective on the same day, citing financial pressure.
Thank you for staying with us. Today marks the 20th day since Israel launched their inhumane attack on Palestine. Israel continues to bombard many of Palestine's essential infrastructure, including hospitals, bakeries, shelters and schools, in order to deprive Palestinians of having any chance of survival. Any means of communications are lost. Only reports from an on-field journalist in the country show how displaced Palestinians are going through their days like lifeless bodies.
بدناش حرب، تقف الحرب تعبنا بمعنى الكلمة تعبنا، حمامات بدنا طوابير لنستنى بس نفوت حمام. يعني كل ايش الناس بتتمنى احنا ولا شيء. يعني صرنا جسم من غير حياة، فيش حياة.
تحت الدمار والقصف والقتل اضطريت انا واسرتي من 9 افراد بالخطر نجي بسيارتين للجوء اللي هنا شايف، وقعدت تحت الشمس 10 ايام لحد ما صح لي خيمه.
As of press time, Israel's strikes have caused the death of more than 6,500 civilians and children. As means to remedy the conflict, the resistance forces in Palestine have so far released 4 of its war prisoners, including 85-year-old Yocheved Lifshitz. The video of her shaking hands with a soldier while being released and her interview with Israel media triggered massive discussions when she said she was well taken care of while in captivity. Israel, however, said this is part of Hamas propaganda to deceive the minds of their people. Meanwhile, Qatar and Turkey are currently negotiating with the resistant forces in Palestine to release more war prisoners in hopes to end the war, but was met by negative response from Israel. The double standards by Western countries toward the Palestine-Israel conflict compared to the Ukraine-Russia conflict is unacceptable.
وأيضا أود هنا أن أشير إلى استغرابنا واستنكارنا لتصريحات بعض المسؤولين الإسرائيليين وكيل الاتهامات لبلادي في الوقت الذي نستمر فيه في بذل الجهود لضمان إطلاق سراح الأسرى وخفض التصعيد، إلى أن هذه التصريحات المستفزة تقوض الجهود القائمة وتخاطر بالأرواح، ولا يمكن فهمها إلا في سياق الابتزاز السياسي والدعاية السياسية. ونتوقع من كل الأطراف احترام الجهود التي تبذلها دولة قطر وشركائها ومساعدتنا على إنجاحها.
Mohammed continued by stating that Israel has violated laws that were built after World War II subsided and stands its ground against attacks that are targeted on innocent lives. Foreign Minister of Turkey, Hakan Fidan, reiterated the same stance and guarantees that Muslim countries will unite to ensure that all countries respect their obligation and duties in protecting lives.
Bölgemiz tam manasıyla bir dönüm noktasındadır. İçinde bulunduğumuz konjonktürden ya daha büyük bir savaşa ya daha büyük bir barışa gideceğiz. Görüştüğüm tüm muhataplarım kamuoyu önünde söylemeseler bile bu tespiti paylaşmakta. Biz gerek taraflara
A massive manhunt is underway on Thursday for an active shooter who officials said killed at least 22 people and wounded many more in mass shootings in the U.S. state of Maine, the deadliest such incident this year. Police said the person of interest, Robert Card, was armed and dangerous after surveillance footage showed the shooter armed with a rifle. Local media also described the 40-year-old Card as a certified firearm instructor and a member of the U.S. Army Reserve.
Lewiston City Councillor Robert McCarthy said 22 people were confirmed dead with more injured. At least 50 people were wounded in the incidents, but it was unclear how many of the injuries were related to the gunfire. Local media also reported that the shootings had occurred at multiple locations. Police and rescuers reportedly arrived at a bowling alley at about 7:15 p.m. local time in response to an active shooter, and then received reports of another shooting at a bar. Swaths of Lewiston were locked down, with businesses and schools urged to close and people ordered to shelter in place. The shooting is one of the deadliest since 2017, when a gunman opened fire on a crowded music festival in Las Vegas, killing about 60 people. Gun violence is alarmingly common in the United States, with over 500 mass shootings recorded this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive, GVA. Wednesday's attack was the deadliest mass shooting in 2023 so far, according to the GVA's data.
The narrow alleyway in South Korea's capital, where nearly 160 people were crushed to death during a Halloween festivity a year ago, was marked a memorial alley on Thursday. Tens of thousands of young adults in their 20s and 30s had been out to enjoy the country's first post-pandemic holiday celebrations, but the night turned into a tragedy in Seoul's Itaewon district due to lax crowd control.
The site, decorated with hundreds of paper notes filled with messages of grief and tribute for the victims, was designated the October 29th Memorial Alley.
기억하고 함께 슬퍼하기 위해 찾아오신 시민분들만이 이 골목을 기억과 애도의 공간으로 유지시켜 주셨습니다. 이제는 기억과 애도에 더해 안전의 공간으로 한 걸음 더 나아가고자 합니다. 모두 이 공간은 우리 아이들의 웃는 모습과 즐겁게 길을 걷는 모습, 그리고 여기 자리에서 괴로워하고 고통스러워하는 모습들이 다 이 현장에 있습니다.
Lee, who lost his daughter to the crowd crush, said families of the victims were still looking for answers 1 year since the disaster. Lee and around 100 other bereaved relatives and activists are pushing for the passage of a law mandating an independent council investigation into what went wrong and who was responsible for the deadly crush. Despite a formal investigation and ongoing prosecutions of local officials, no one has yet been legally convicted. This year, local authorities banned Halloween parties in some popular party districts, but not Itaewon, with many shops and bars opting not to run promotions or decorate for the holiday.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Up-to-the-minute headlines are now available across all of our social media platforms. And that's all the updates for TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.